please. It's okay if you look at this. This is just for demo purposes. This is not in production right now. Okay. Basically, this app is a baby right now. It's under development. Think of it as a 2-week-old baby. It's barely, it's here. It's brand new. So give it time to develop. Give it time to learn. Give it time to grow. So the secret key you're seeing here, if you look here, security warning, keep secret to be used in production. So we're not in production. That's why the secret is here in the public. This is not a production-based app. So this is a brand new baby. It's still under development. It's not in production. Okay. When we go to production, we'll change all of these variables to production values. These are not production values right now. These are development values. Okay. Just so if you see it, don't panic or anything. Just it's a development secret key, and don't go crazy about it. Okay. Of course, because we're in development, we're gonna set debug to true, right? This is how Django knows it's in debug mode. So if it crashes or bursts, right? Let's say it encounters some kind of error in birth, it will give you a lot of debug, like it will give you like a trace back of where things crashed, right? So that's what that variable does. This allowed host variable in Django tells the Django application who it's allowed to talk to, right? So if I'm a Django app and I'm up and running, I don't just talk to anybody, right? Part of security in computer science, a big part of security is don't talk to everybody, right? So if I'm running, I'm a Django app, and you try to talk to me, and you're not one of these guys on this list, I just ignore you. Simple, right? So that's one way we do security in computer science is we do ignore people. Believe it or not, like ignoring people is part of being secure. And if you are in a development mode, have you ever heard the phrase, don't talk to strangers, right? We tell kids, stranger danger, right? That's basically what this is. This is a very fancy way of saying stranger danger. If Django is up and running, Django is a brand new kid, it's still learning, it's still developing. These are the family members it knows. If you're not on this list, you talk to it, it cries, it ignores you. Okay? Simple way to explain it. I'm just using an analogy here. But basically, the allowed host list is a way Django say, if you're not on this list, don't talk to me. If you talk to me, I ignore you. Okay? That's what that is. Okay. Installed apps. So Django is a framework, right? So Django comes with batteries included, right? So there's some batteries that come with Django. When you get Django, it comes with some batteries, okay? Like when you buy something at the store with some batteries included. Yeah, so these are the installed apps Django will come with when we start it in our environment. So these are all contributed apps, right? So if you see here Django.contrib, that means the community contributed this, right? It takes a village to raise a child. So a lot of part of Django was contributed to Django by various community members, okay? On top of those contributions, we add our own code, right? So the Jannah site is the actual app we're building. The course header is also one of the contributed apps, and the Graphene Django, this Graphene Django is what you're looking at here, okay? So this is how Django is able to do GraphQL, okay? This variable here is configuration for the Django Graphene, right? So this is basically configuration values for Graphene, okay? So Django has authentication backends, right? So in the authentication backends, so this is basically how we do authentication for user. So if you create a user and the user try to log in, those are the tools we use to basically check the user's password and email, right? So those are authentication backends. They're very simple right now, but you could imagine that could get complicated over time. What I mean by complicated, this list could grow over time as we go into production or in testing or staging mode. Okay. Now, course origin allow all is set to false. What does that mean? It means if you're a front-end web app, you need to be in a certain kind of list to talk to Django. This is related to this allowed host here, right? So these are the allowed hosts we can talk to, but on those hosts, we can only talk to these specific applications, right? So that's the idea. Not only are we limited to who we can talk to, we're limited to what type of things we can talk about. Okay, this is part of security, right? We're basically saying, only talk to us from here, but only even if from there, if you're not one of these apps, we ignore you as well, right? So think about, so that's one way to think about this, okay? And these are middleware applications that Django use. So what happens here is when Django gets a web request, the web request goes through a pipe, a series of pipes. You can think of them like a tunnel, right? So this is, think of it as, your plumbing in the house, right? So when water comes in, it has to go through certain path to come to your faucet, right? So when Django receives communication from the web, that communication has to go through all of these layers before it actually reaches the Django app itself, right? So when Jannah Middleware is being talked to by a front-end application, that request has to go through all of these layers, and only when it passes these layers do the Django app, in our context, the middleware application would actually honor it, right? In these variables here, this is the URL conf. Okay, this is basically where Django tells the web server what URLs it will support, and those are typically, let's take a look at what those look like. Okay, so we're basically saying, go into Jannah GraphQL, look for a file called url.py. These are the URLs I provide. So if you talk to Jannah, Jannah will only talk to you if you call it through the admin or the GraphQL, right? So if you look over here, this is the GraphQL subdomain, right?